This is a Mido Multifort Powerwind, Mido as I used to call it. Now I'm going to stick with Mido. Now this one came to me. I bought this along with a Bulova, and taking a look at it here, you can see some gunk around there, and there was some inside of the tube for the stem, and also might be able to see it here, some of these views, where the crystal, it doesn't just have scratches, it actually has fissures in it. Now this wrench I have luckily fit this perfectly because that thing was on tight, and sometimes those things are a pain to get off. But anyway, back to the crystal. I did replace it because what happens is when you have those fissures, they aren't that noticeable until you get into the bright light, and with that nice clean white dial, what that'll do is that'll cast shadows onto the dial, and so I just replaced it with one that I had. I do intend to place it with a lower dome crystal at some point if I can find one with a crystal ring in it, because the one that I had did not have it. You can see the condition of that dial is in pretty good condition. A few little spots, but all in all, I would say it was pretty clean. Well, let me get this dial off there first, and once we get to the back, I'll go back to what I was saying. Got 3 screws here. And it's just a plate to hold down the calendar ring. Then there's another 3 screws here, and there is one for the jumper, which is just one piece, so it's the jumper and the springs. 1 screw. I'm going to leave that on, or since I already did this about a month ago, I did leave it on. Didn't bother to take it off. No point. So the jumper comes off with the plate. Very simple calendar mechanism. Alright, here you can see the set bridge is broken. You can see the spring there. I'm about ready to pull the broken part off. Fortunately, this shares parts with a lot of A-Shield and Bulova parts. Now, this is the 917 PC. So the original 917 was made between 1935 and 1954. Then they came out with the P and the PC, both the same movements, except the PC did have the calendar, and those came out between 1954 and 1960. So all 3 of them share a base plate derived from the A-Shield 1131/1132, and all 3 of them are 11 line movements. So just a little bit about that. So if you have a P, it'll be the same as the PC, just without the calendar. or if you're just watching this for your own entertainment, there you go. All right, here you can see spots of like dried up oil or grease, all that green spots over there. So this one is definitely going to have to take an ultrasonic bath before it goes in my nice clean fluid in the cleaning machine. It's just taking off the weight or the rotor here. You can see it says Swiss Mido Limited 917 PC, and more of that grease or oil, whatever it is needs to come off and will come off. And that's me looking to see what it is with the tweezers. Yeah, that's not good. It's probably the reason it's not running. Well, that, and it hasn't had service in a while. And there's another spot of that right above the 17. Yeah, there's me playing around with that. Now, before I clean the jewels, I do take a razor blade and resharpen my pegwood because I'm not spreading grease on my my jewel caps, my cap jewels. Here's another three screws that need to come off for the plate for the mechanism for the automatic. Poke, poke, and that's not working. Poke, not working. Take the screwdriver and pry it up. There we go. Yeah, it worked. Again, fairly simple mechanism for the automatic. Whoop, there that goes. As you can see, there's that green stuff all over the place. Alright, now once I get this spring off of here that holds down the sweep second pinion, using the Radioco to pull that off because a lot of this stuff is tight. You can see me slipping a pair of tweezers underneath, and that was because that sweep second pinion was really down in there. So what I'm doing is I'm using the tweezers to push up from it so that I can grab it with the tweezers on top right there. Yeah, I didn't show it on the video, but I was sitting there trying to pull that thing out with my brass tweezers and it wasn't coming out, so I just decided to take the handle end of another pair of tweezers and push up from it from the dial side. And you can see a stem magically appeared. Fortunately, I did have a stem. I have vials and vials of kind of miscellaneous stems, and I went looking through them, and fortunately I found one that fit. So I was able to use that to wind down the mainspring, and it's also what I'm going to use when I put the thing back together. I just need to trim it down and find a crown for it. Well, all of that's already done, so let's just say I'm looking at this in the past, and so a crown has already been found and the watch has been put together, and I've actually already made the video that's going to come up right after this one. So now, if you look at the click spring, I'm not to that point yet, but it's kind of odd. It just has, you can see it, you can see the click there, but the spring is attached to it and just kind of sits along that little bump off to the left, and it's going to be pretty quick when I take it off, but you'll be able to see it if you pay attention. I mean, you might be able to see it now, but you can't see it right there. That's me poking it with the tweezers. So that's attached to the click. More green stuff. Three screws. A lot of three screws. I noticed that. I was thinking about that. And there it is. The center wheel and the third wheel are stuck to the plate, and more green stuff. And the escape wheel is pretty dirty too. Take off the broken set bridge, and I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but fortunately I did have a movement. Set bridge is shared with several A shields and Bulivas, and fortunately I did have a movement sitting around that I was able to use that part for one of my movements. Alright, so it's out of the cleaning machine. Now I'm going to take the jewel out and put a little bit of oil on that. Inca block spring here. My favorite of the springs, the Inca block. And onto the Rodico. And those are stains. They did not want to come off if you look over where the balance goes. That's fine. It's not going to affect the movement. Just a little bit of excess oil. I probably could have just left it there. It wasn't enough that it's going to leak all over the place and create a mess. Yeah, the click screw didn't magically pop there. I actually was fiddling around with it under the microscope and got fed up with it and pulled it under the loop and actually did it that way because the screw kept wanting to run away and so did the click. So that's why the click just magically appeared there, which is going to happen sometimes. I am still I'm used to using the loop. I'm still not 100%, and I don't think I'll ever be with the microscope. I've been doing the loops for so long, that's just kind of the way I like to do it. The microscope can get maddening sometimes. Well, dicking around with watches can get maddening sometimes just in and of itself. You know, a lot of times, like I'm watching these videos. I had to edit it, but I'm watching these videos, and you can see that the watch is not completely in frame. That's because in a lot of these, I'm not using the microscope. I'm not looking at the microscope. I'm actually looking at the watch while I'm wearing my little goggle, whatever you want to call them, things. And so it's just the way I'm used to doing it. And there are a lot of times in which I'll be using the goggle things, and then I'll look up at the screen and I'll say, oops, it's not quite all in frame, so then I'll move it. You know, stuff like this, I don't need them. I'll use a microscope. I should have sped that part up. That wasn't necessary to watch that. And as I mentioned before, with these springs, I don't like using pegwood or tweezers to hold the thing in place. I just put my finger on it and push it into place. That works, I would say 90% of the time, the first time, and since my finger's on it, I can feel it and it's not going to pop out of place. It's just, for me, a safer way to do it. I know it doesn't look attractive on the video, but I'm not trying to make the video look pretty. I'm trying to get the damn thing put together. Alright, so there's the new set bridge. Well, not new, but one that's not broken. One that I was able to take off another movement that I had. So as of right now, I haven't put any money into it, but I do want to get the proper crown for it. You're not going to see that in this video, because the crown that's on there right now, I just kind of put it on there to use it to test the watch as I'm putting it together. Yeah, that wouldn't look right at all. So yeah, I want to get the proper crown, and I want to get the proper crystal for it, and you know, I like the watch a lot. It's a nice looking watch, and I'll go into a little bit more detail in the video where I actually talk about the watch and not this part of it. And get the holes lined up here. Now, at some point, I don't know why I didn't record it, but I put the balance back in. So when I flip this thing back over, it's going to be ticking. Well, I guess I would have put the palette. I don't know why I didn't record that. I mean, these things are done in, I just noticed it when I was editing it. right before I'm doing this part of it, but maybe I forgot to turn the thing on, the video on. I don't know, but here it is. So here's the joule setting for the balance, and after I clean it off, oil it, put it back together, you're going to see the thing running. And you can say, Mark, what's the use in the video? That's the most important part, is putting the pallet fork, the pallet cock, and the balance in there to see it running. I don't know what I did. I honestly can't tell you. I just know that when I went back and edited it, I went back and checked all the videos for, they cuts it off into 15-minute segments, and I went back and I don't see it. Well, yeah, there it is. There's the balance doing what it's supposed to be doing, just without the joule in there. Now it stopped. That's because I put the joule in the wrong place. Once I get the joule in the right place, it'll start back up again. Why I didn't put that in before, I don't know. Usually those springs, I don't know, are held in with that screw. This one has its own little screw, and maybe I was thinking that, it doesn't really matter. You're not going to break the watch if you do it the way I just did it. You already have 2 screws to the left over there that hold the thing down. And I did put a bit of oil in those holes right there, where these 2 gears are going, wheels. That's just me testing to make sure all the wheels are turning properly. You can see the pivots in the holes up there, but I just like to test it out before I put the screws in all the way and I tighten them down. That's me doing it again. One more screw to go. Alright, this is kind of one of those things that magically pops into place, and that's because the damn thing kept falling on the balance, and I just pulled it in front of me and used the loop. You didn't need to see that. It might have been entertaining, but you didn't need to see that. Alright, now you're going to see me put the washer on here in a second. So at the beginning of the video, I pulled a washer. There's a washer that sits between the hour wheel and the dial washer. The reason you're just going to see me put a dial washer on here, like right there, is because the washer that goes between the hour wheel and the dial washer, I lost it, then I found it, then I lost it again, then I finished up with this part of the video, and I said I'm not going to record it again. I found it again, took these 3 screws out and put the washer in, but I was like, I'm pretty much done with this part of it. So and there's me just testing to make sure the calendar worked, and it did flip over. So there's the video.